Let the vengeance begin!
Howdy, howdy, Sudil here, and welcome to an online ladder battle with me as the Dowie, as always, playing up against Chaos. So it's kind of a Chaos double feature, and you know, with the recent kind of test match I had against Zardar, I wanted to show another build against Chaos specifically. So in this build, I have just a basic Lord, very inexpensive, and he has Banner of Lost Holds, which is a very good ability. 40 meters, plus 5 melee attack, plus 6% weapon damage. You can see, you know, these Grumbling Guard have 39 melee attack, 35 weapon damage, and even these Longbeards have 36 melee attack. So it's actually quite a good ability. You know, he doesn't have armor piercing, so he can be a little rough in some matchups. Now, for my front line, I've really brought Longbeards, just regular Longbeards with one chevron, really to hold. They're just there to hold the front line, and that's it. And these Grumbling Guards are my only armor piercing option in the pocket of my build. I do have 2 units of Bugman Rangers. They are chevroned up to 3 chevrons, and I have 2 units of Slayers chevroned up twice. Now I put these guys kind of off in the woods so that they would be hidden, because this, with my 4 units of Gyrocopters with brimstone guns, and they all do have armor piercing, so you can see conceptually I don't have armor piercing in my line. These Gyrocopters with brimstone guns are my armor piercing contingent, and I just want to hold, so I kind of have put a little pocket up here, you know, with the Slayers here and the Longbeards, you know, just to make it look like this might be my entire army. Now for his army, he has some heavy hitters. Now he has 6 units of Chaos Warriors with great weapons, and we know from our testing that these guys are pound for pound the best armor piercing unit in the game right now. He has 4 units of Forsaken. These guys absolutely demolish Slayers. You know, we saw that in our game against Turn. 1 unit of Forsaken basically took out 3 units of Slayers, and he's got 4 units of Forsaken. But Longbeards, just regular Longbeards, do great against him. He does have Sethoril the Everwatcher, and he has with him Standard Die, plus 16 leadership, plus 27 melee defense. He has Transmutation of Lead, which is actually a pretty good ability. Minus 26 melee attack, minus 25% weapon damage. He has Final Transmutation, 18 Winds of Magic, causes damage to combatant strong versus single combatant, but it's an area effect spell. And, you know, I have some magic mitigation, but it will do pretty good still. He also has Plague of Rust, minus 30 armor, which can be really, really good to help the Forsaken chop through some units. He has Searing Doom, magic bombardment spell. He does have metal shifting, so every time he casts a spell, all his units for 13 seconds get plus 10% armor piercing damage and plus 10% weapon damage, and he is unbreakable and causes fear and terror. He also has 2 units of Chaos Poison Warhounds, very common in this matchup. You're going to see them in almost every matchup. And he brought a Chaos Feral Manticore, which you don't see this very often. You usually see the Marauders with throwing axes to be the answer to Gyrocopter. So he does have an answer, and he does have an army. So let's get this one going. So first thing I want to do is I just want to get these Gyrocopters moving. I would like to get my bombs off on the Forsaken and get my shots off onto the Chaos Warriors with great weapons. You know, I do see this Feral Manticore. I could focus them all on them. I think I might take a few shots on it, but this is my only armor piercing option. I have to start doing damage to these Chaos Warriors with great weapons. So he's going to start coming after. His Manticore has what, 85 speed. These guys have 105 speed. So I'm going to just try and kite this guy out. You know, these are about the same value, 800 and 800, I think. But I just need to start getting shots in. I want to start getting shots in, and I think I want to go for a bombing run here. I must be going for a bombing run. That's the only reason I got to bring these here, I would think. Oh, he's going to come after with the Manticore, so I had to abort the bombing run and get out here, but I just want to get some bombs off and get some shots in. So you can see I'm whittling away these Chaos Warriors with great weapons. I know how good they are, so I have to. You know, I have to get some damage in. These guys have come in, these Forsaken, and they're kind of posted up, but there's a nasty little surprise in there in that Longbeard. So when he gets in there, I'm going to be able to start taking shots. And he's very soon, he's going to get into range of my Bugman's Rangers. He is trying to get around with these Chaos Poison Warhounds, so I'm going to just shoot in here, post up my Slayers, and I'm actually going to bring around my Longbeards just to help create sort of a defensive line, a pocket up in here. and I'll let my gyrocopters go to work. So my gyrocopters are dropping the bombs on the Forsaken, and I'm shooting into the backs of these Chaos Warriors. I'm getting a little bit beat up by this Chaos Pharaoh Manticore, but I'm going to just try and kite him all the way away. I just want to, like, I don't mind this trade. I'll just kite him away. I need these guys to start operating, so I'm going to start getting these guys again on the right target. So I have these guys on here, and I have these guys on here, and he's coming into the engagement. Now these guys are getting some shots in. He's gonna, now I'm just charging in with all my line. I want to get a charge in. Now he's finally seen these guys. I'm going to charge them in, and I just want to get into this engagement. I've brought these Longbeards back to come up and around. You know, he's juked my Slayers. Everyone jukes me. And he's going to come back into these Bugman Rangers. I'm not sure if I'm going to see this. I do. How about that? And I turn him around. So they don't have, these are small units, they're not large units, but these guys are going to do okay. I mean, I don't like this because this is a unit of 450 holding up a unit of Bugman's Rangers that are 750, so it's not really great. I think, yes, I'm going to bring these guys over to try and buckle these Chaos Warriors, but, you know, I've got in here these Grumbling Guard. You know, they're minus 26 melee attack, but they're going to do just fine. He's brought in Sethorl. These guys are immune to psychology, though. That's the beauty of Longbeards. I've got 2 units of Chaos Warriors with great weapons being held up by this 1 unit of Longbeards, and I'm shooting them in the back. You can see I've just got these guys posted up. I'm just shooting in, and I'm doing a ton of damage. This is my armor-piercing damage. Now, way over here, I'm still kind of kiting away. You know, I don't really care what happens to that gyrocopter. I've forgotten about it. I just want these gyrocopters to come in and do some damage. And you can see, you know, these Longbeards are not doing great, but they're not doing bad either. And I'm getting some shots into the back of those Chaos Warriors. And I'm starting to get some shots over here. I'm going to get rear charged, but these Forsaken are kind of gotten to the cookie jar. I'm bringing the Slayers against Sethorl. They're getting into the Bugman's range. I mean, I don't have enough units to stop everybody. I've got these Longbeards in with these Slayers to try and do something against these Forsaken, and they've done all right. You know, but this line is holding, it's holding, and I've still got shots coming off. My Gyrocopters are just going to work, getting their job done, and my back line is a little bit, you know, buckled, but, you know, I'm holding enough. Now, he's got into the Bugman's Rangers and done a good job, and he's got Sethorl in here, he's got Chaos Warriors, he's got Forsaken. Forsaken aren't going to do a whole lot against my Lord. Sethorl, you know, is not going to do a massive amount of damage to my Lord. He's just got to keep him moving, but my front line is holding, and now I've got these Slayers coming against Sethorl, and these guys will do a good job against him, so he has definitely got to get out of the way. So I've got these Slayers holding up these Forsaken. Again, not a great engagement for me. He's got kind of back into the cookie jar, but you can see the work we're doing here. One group of Longbeards held up 2 units of Chaos Warriors with great weapons, and even they're getting rear charged now. But really, I'm doing a lot of damage to these guys with these Gyrocopters. They're going to start running out of ammo, and I'm going to start rear charging. I have done good with the Grumbling Guard. Have gotten rid of these Chaos Warriors, so I can bring them in. You can see I'm just going to hopefully I'll bring them in right away. I have been able to get rid of these Chaos Warriors. This is still a very atrocious fight, but I can bring these Longbeards in to these Chaos Warriors. This has been an atrocious trade for me, but these Longbeards have done alright against these 2 groups of Forsaken. Up in here, Sethorl is now starting to take a beat down from my Lord and these Slayers. These Forsaken are starting to rout, and I'm getting some shots back in. They got these Bugman Rangers back online. I have routed these Chaos Poison Warhounds, and I'm starting to do a number on this Sethorl Everwatcher now. I'm starting to get back rear shots into everything. This Gyrocopter is still flying around, you know, but I'm really starting to put a good beat down on Sethorl now, and this is where it ends. So, you know, a very different build. You can see, though, the work I needed to do was with the Gyrocopters, with Brimstone guns. They were my armor-piercing solution. These Longbeards did great. You know, 52, 25, 36, 39, 55. They're robust. They have immunity to psychology, so that fear and terror doesn't matter to them. The Slayers, I mean, I got these Slayers, one of these groups of Slayers, into a pretty bad engagement with Forsaken, but 52 and 64 kills are still very good. They got a lot of kills against Chaos Poison Warhounds. You know, he did shut down my Bugman Rangers, fair enough, but the Bugman Rangers, you know, I don't know if they paid for themselves. I still like that I had them because he committed his Forsaken around the edges, and he didn't get rear charges into my Longbeards. He got a few with the Chaos Poison Warhounds, but they held up just fine, and I was happy with the job that they did. But, you know, these Gyrocopters, they can be so good. Now, they can also be trouble. You know, had he had 4 units of, had he had a Lord on a Dragon and 4 units of Marauders with throwing axes, maybe this wouldn't have been such a good pick. But this is sort of a different build, something that I think is an interesting alternative to the other builds that I've shown. I've had a build against Turn. I brought very, very heavy frontline infantry with the Iron Breakers. In the build against Dav, and another one I featured in a test match, a practice match against Zardar, had an incredibly heavy armor-piercing build with 9 units of armor-piercing infantry. And in this build, it's really sort of a Dwarven hammer and anvil, where I have the Longbeards and then these Gyrocopters with brimstone guns getting rear shots onto that line. Now, I didn't have all of them, because this Feral Manticore did, he killed one of them and pushed one of my Gyrocopters away, but I did get my bombs off with most of them and got some kills on the backside. And these Chaos Warriors with great weapons, again, we've proven that I think objectively they are the strongest armor piercing infantry unit in the game, pound for pound, gold coin for gold coin. 69, 48, 27, 46, and 25 I think is fantastic. And 26, I guess he had 6 units of them, I only had 5 Longbeards in the front line, so he had more than I had. He had a very, very wide line, and 4 units of Forsaken, 31, 23, 75, and 42. This one with 75 is the one that got into the cookie jar and really crushed my Bugman Rangers and beat up a lot of my Slayers. But, I really had to focus on the Chaos Warriors with great weapons, and we were able to do that. And Sithoril never got a whole lot of kills. I think my Lord was able to do okay, and once these Slayers got into Sithoril, Slayers are quite good against Sithoril, and they really showed their quality in there. He's large, and they are anti-large, and they have a lot of weapon strength, and they do some damage. And, these Grumbling Guard, fantastic. 70 kills, and they still had over half health, and they were buffing up everybody with that Vigor Aura. So really, I think an interesting game, and this build is no joke. I mean, you might be able to argue the Feral Manticore was not the best pick in this build, but we've seen world-class players bring Sithoril and Kolek, so Sithoril cannot be considered a bad choice in the Chaos build, because he is a caster, so he's a 2-for-1. That's why some of these guys are really good, and he has a lot of missile resistance, which is good against Bugman's Rangers or just regular Quarrelers or Thunders or anything else like this. So this is really a chopped down army with the Chaos Poison Warhounds, which we also know are very good in this matchup. So, there are multiple ways to line up against Chaos, and there are multiple builds that can be good. They all have risk, though, when you're coming up against a faction that is good against you. But, the Gyrocopters with brimstone guns really showed their quality in this match. 34, 54, 31, 13, and they're putting the debuff of hit by artillery, so they are hurting the leadership of everyone they are hitting. So, anyways, hope you liked the match. I hope you found it interesting. Love to hear some comments down below. I love comments. I've been kind of getting beat up. my beloved Dowie have kind of been getting beat up in the recent past by Chaos. So I'm glad I can show a couple of games where the Dowie can do pretty decently, and with very different builds, so that I think that's kind of an interesting way to view. The Dowie aren't just a one-trick pony. And in none of these builds, I did have a the build against Janet, where he beat the crap out of me with my Dwarfs with Chaos. I brought a kind of a 2-cannon build and a very different concept in that game too, and he hung a pretty good licking on me. But there's a lot of options for matching up against Chaos, even though you're at a disadvantage. And they have very good infantry, and in this matchup, he brought the best infantry. 6 units of Chaos Warriors with great weapons. I mean, this is a fantastic build against most Dowie builds. So, hope you found it interesting. Look forward. Love the comments. Want to hear some comments down below, what you thought of the build and how it performed. What you thought of this build. Any comments you have. If you've been playing against Chaos recently with the Dwarfs and what your experience has been, I'd love to hear them. And with that said, I don't have anything else to say, so I will see you soon.